Hello, today we're talking about the Red Badge of Courage. The red A summary of the Red Badge of Courage is the Red Badge of Courage is about a teenager named Henry Fleming that goes off to fight in the Civil War. It talks about his journey throughout the war, and it shows his bravery and courage, and that he's a Civil War hero. It shows how he helped people during the war and how he helped the Union win the Civil War. The Courage took place in was the Civil War, which was from April 1861 to April 1865. And the setting of the Red Badge of Courage is most of it was on battlefields and war campsites. But in the beginning of the book, they were in his house, and he was like talking to his mom and stuff. But most of it was on battlefields and campsites. That the theme of the Red Badge of Courage is to always have courage and that war can be very tragic. A piece of evidence that kind of explains and proves those themes. Like there's two pieces I have, and the first one is at times he regarded the wounded soldiers in an envious way. He conceived persons with torn bodies to be peculiarly happy. He wished that he too had a wound, a red badge of courage. I think that shows that he wanted to fight and he wanted to have courage and go out there and fight and not be scared, and that he has courage. That shows the tragedy of war and that you shall always have courage is once he thought he had concluded that it would be better to get killed directly and end his troubles. Regarding death thus out of the corner of his eye, he conceived it to be nothing but rest, and he was filled with a momentary astonishment that he should have made an extraordinary commotion over the mere matter of getting killed. This shows that war is very tragic, and that he has courage, and that he doesn't fear dying when going to war. It's similar to the Red Badge of Courage is Number the Stars by Louis Lowry because they both take place in war and they showcase bravery of the main character. But the in Number the Stars is during World War II, and the Red Badge of Courage is during the Civil War. And also in Number the Stars, the main character is not she's a Jewish person who's getting threatened by the Nazis, and she's not actually a soldier. Well, in the Red Badge of Courage, the main character is a soldier and he's fighting, so that's the main differences. Red Badge of Courage are Henry Fleming, which is basically the main character in the book is about his journey through war and his heroism and courage and his bravery. And the other kind of main characters are Jim Conklin, Wilson, the tattered soldier, and the lieutenant. Red Badge of Courage wasn't very special just because there are so many books about, war heroes and soldiers. But I do think that it was it was kind of heartwarming a little bit and a little bit not heart like the opposite because it showed bravery but also talked about the tragedies of war. So I think that it was not very special though because there's just so many books about, war and heroes and war. So for that reason, I don't think it's very special. Tristan and Oliver, and we're going to be doing our Q&A. So our first question is, what is the theme of your book, Tristan?
Well, the theme of my book, first off, the book that I was reading is called Chains, and the theme of my book was to stand up for yourself and don't listen to the people that always want to see you fail or suffer.
The theme of my book, The Red Badge of Courage, is to always have courage because it's about a war hero and he has a lot of courage. And also the tragedy of war because it shows how tragic war can be. And who's the main character of your book?
The main character of my book is a girl named Isabel Gardner, and she's a slave was who lived in New York.
The main character of my book is Henry Fleming, who is a Civil War hero on the Union side. He's a soldier. And what was your favorite part of your book?
The favorite part of my book was the ending because eventually Isabel escaped from slavery and made it to freedom.
My favorite part was all the parts when they were camping, because I really like camping, and I thought that was pretty cool. And do you recommend this book? Do you recommend your book, Tristan?
Yes, I do because I think the book it like represents me and my culture because it represents Black history and I really like that. So I do recommend that book.
I do recommend The Red Badge of Courage if you're a good reader, because a lot of the words and dialogue they speak like it's the 1800s, so it's a little bit hard to understand. But overall, I do recommend it. Thank you.